The Friendly Ghost, Part 1, The New Neighbor. In a small, quiet village surrounded by tall, green trees, there was an old house at the end of a long, narrow road. The house was big and had been empty for many years. The windows were covered with dust, and the garden was overgrown with weeds. No one in the village went near the house because they believed it was haunted by a ghost. One day, a family moved into the village. The family had a mother, a father, and a little boy named Timmy. Timmy was about 8 years old. He was curious about everything. When they arrived, the villagers welcomed them warmly. However, they warned them about the old house at the end of the road. "Don't go near that house," an old man said. "It's haunted by a ghost." Timmy's eyes grew wide with curiosity. He had never seen a ghost before, and he couldn't stop thinking about the old house. That night, as his parents unpacked their boxes, Timmy stood by the window, looking out at the dark silhouette of the house at the end of the road. He wondered if the stories were true. The next day, Timmy decided to take a closer look. He walked down the narrow road, his small feet crunching the gravel beneath him. As he approached the old house, he felt a shiver run down his spine. The air was cool, and the wind rustled the leaves in the trees. But Timmy was brave, so he stepped closer. When he reached the front gate, it creaked as he pushed it open. He walked through the overgrown garden, carefully avoiding the prickly bush. As he reached the front door, it suddenly swung open on its own. Timmy gasped and stepped back, but his curiosity was stronger than his fear. He took a deep breath and stepped inside. The inside of the house was dusty and dark. The furniture was covered with old sheets, and cobwebs hung from the ceiling. Timmy's heart raced as he explored the rooms. Suddenly, he heard a soft sound, like someone whispering. He turned around quickly, but no one was there. The sound grew louder, and Timmy realized it was coming from the next room. He slowly opened the door and peeked inside. To his surprise, he saw a pale figure floating in the air. The figure was a ghost. But this ghost was not like the scary ones he had heard about. It was a small, gentle-looking ghost with a kind face and big, round eyes. "Hello," the ghost said in a soft voice. "Don't be afraid. My name is Casper." Timmy's fear melted away as he looked at the friendly ghost. "Hello, Casper. I'm Timmy," he said, still a little nervous. Casper floated closer to Timmy, smiling. "I've been living in this house for a very long time," he said. "I used to be lonely, but now that you're here, I'm happy to have a friend." Timmy was surprised. "You want to be friends with me?" he asked. Casper nodded. "Yes, I've been watching you since you moved in. You're brave and kind. I want to help you and your family." Timmy couldn't believe what he was hearing. A ghost wanted to be his friend. He smiled and said, "I would like that, Casper. But how can you help us?" Casper's eyes twinkled. "I have many ways to help. I can make things move without touching them. I can disappear and reappear anywhere in the house. and I know all the secret places in this village." Timmy was excited. He knew that having a ghost friend would be an adventure. "Can you show me some of your tricks?" he asked. Casper grinned and nodded. "Of course. Watch this." With a wave of his hand, Casper made a small chair float into the air. Timmy watched in amazement as the chair spun around the room and then gently landed back on the floor. "That's amazing," Timmy exclaimed. "Can you do more?" Casper laughed and spent the next hour showing Timmy all the things he could do. He made books fly off the shelves, turned lights on and off, and even made a broom sweep the floor by itself. Timmy was thrilled. He couldn't wait to tell his parents about his new friend. But Casper shook his head. "No, Timmy, you must keep me a secret. If people find out about me, they might be scared and try to make me leave." Timmy understood. He didn't want to lose his new friend. "I promise I won't tell anyone," he said. As the sun began to set, Timmy realized it was time to go home. "I have to go now, Casper," he said. "But I'll come back tomorrow." Casper smiled and waved goodbye. "I'll be waiting, Timmy. And remember, if you ever need help, just call my name." Timmy ran home, his heart full of excitement. He couldn't wait to see Casper again and have more adventures with his friendly ghost friend. But little did he know, their friendship was about to lead to something even bigger, a challenge that would test their bond and change the village forever. To be continued in part 2. The Friendly Ghost, Part 2, The Village's Secret. The next morning, Timmy could hardly wait to go back to the old house and see Casper. He quickly finished his breakfast and ran out the door, telling his mother he was going to explore the village. His mother smiled and waved him off, not knowing that her son was about to embark on a great adventure. When Timmy reached the old house, he found Casper waiting for him at the gate. "Good morning, Timmy," Casper said cheerfully. "I'm glad you came back." "Of course I came back," Timmy replied. "I want to see more of your tricks and explore the house with you." Casper nodded. "There's so much to show you, Timmy, but first, there's something important I need to tell you." Timmy tilted his head in curiosity. "What is it, Casper?" Casper floated closer and spoke in a serious tone. "This village has a secret, Timmy. A long time ago, before you were born, there was a terrible storm. The storm was so strong that it destroyed many houses and trees. The villagers were scared, and they didn't know what to do. But then a wise old man came to the village. He told the people that the storm was caused by an ancient curse." "A curse?" Timmy asked, his eyes wide with surprise. "Yes," Casper continued. "The old man said that the curse was placed on the village by a powerful wizard who lived in the forest nearby. The wizard was angry because the villagers had cut down too many trees in the forest. To lift the curse, the villagers had to promise never to harm the forest again." Timmy listened carefully, fascinated by the story. Did the villagers keep their promise? He asked. Casper nodded. They did. After the storm, they planted new trees and took care of the forest. The curse was lifted, and the village was safe again. But the old man warned them that if they ever broke their promise, the curse would return. Timmy's heart began to race. "Do you think the curse will come back?" he asked. Casper looked around, as if checking to make sure no one was listening. "I don't know, Timmy, but lately I've heard strange noises coming from the forest at night. I'm worried that someone might be breaking the promise." Timmy felt a chill run down his spine. "What should we do, Casper?" Casper floated higher and smiled reassuringly. "We need to investigate, Timmy. We need to find out if someone is harming the forest. If they are, we must stop them before it's too late." Timmy felt a mix of fear and excitement. He knew this was a big responsibility, but he also knew that he couldn't do it alone. "I'll help you, Casper," he said bravely. "Let's go to the forest and see what's happening." The two friends set off toward the edge of the village, where the forest began. The trees were tall and thick, and the path was narrow and winding. As they walked deeper into the forest, the sunlight faded and the air grew cool and damp. "Stay close to me, Timmy," Casper whispered. "This part of the forest is very old and very dark. We must be careful." Timmy nodded, feeling a little nervous. The forest was quiet, too quiet. He could hear the sound of his own breathing and the crunch of leaves under his feet. Suddenly, they heard a loud cracking sound, like a tree branch breaking. Timmy jumped, and Casper quickly floated in front of him. "What was that?" Timmy asked, his voice trembling. "I'm not sure," Casper replied, "but we need to find out. Follow me." They moved cautiously through the forest, following the sound. As they got closer, they saw a clearing up ahead. In the middle of the clearing, there was a group of men cutting down trees with axes and saws. The men were strong and rough-looking, and they were laughing as they chopped down the ancient trees. Timmy gasped, "They're destroying the forest!" "We have to stop them," Casper nodded, "but we can't do it alone. We need to tell the villagers." Timmy thought for a moment. "But the villagers might not believe us. What if they think we're making it up?" Casper smiled gently. "I have an idea. Timmy, I can use my ghost powers to make the villagers see what's happening. They will believe us if they see it with their own eyes." Timmy agreed. "Let's go back to the village and tell everyone. We have to save the forest before it's too late." They hurried back to the village, and Timmy went straight to the town square, where many villagers were gathered. He ran up to the old man who had warned his family about the haunted house. "Please, you have to listen to me," Timmy shouted. "There are men in the forest cutting down the trees. They're breaking the promise, and the curse will come back." The villagers murmured among themselves, unsure whether to believe the boy. The old man looked at Timmy with concern. "Are you sure, boy? The forest is sacred." No one would dare harm it. Timmy nodded firmly. I saw it with my own eyes. The trees are being chopped down, and if we don't stop them, the curse will return. Casper floated invisibly beside Timmy, ready to help. He whispered into Timmy's ear, "Tell them to follow you to the forest. I'll make sure they see the truth." Timmy took a deep breath and said, "Please, follow me to the forest. I can show you what's happening." Reluctantly, the villagers agreed to follow Timmy. They walked together to the edge of the forest, where Casper used his powers to make the scene in the clearing visible to everyone. The villagers gasped as they saw the men cutting down the trees. The sound of axes hitting wood echoed through the forest. "This is terrible," one of the villagers exclaimed. "We must stop them." The old man, who had been skeptical at first, now looked at Timmy with respect. "You were right, boy. We need to act quickly." The villagers rushed into the clearing, shouting at the men to stop. The men were startled and dropped their tools, fleeing into the forest. The villagers stood in silence, staring at the damaged trees. They knew they had come close to breaking the promise that had protected their village for so long. "We need to replant the trees," the old man said. "And we must watch over the forest more carefully from now on." Timmy smiled, feeling proud that he had helped save the village. But he knew he couldn't have done it without Casper. As the villagers began to work on replanting the trees, Timmy turned to Casper and said, "Thank you, Casper. You were right together. We can do anything." Casper smiled back at Timmy, his round eyes shining with happiness. "Thank you, Timmy. You're the bravest friend I've ever had." From that day on, Timmy and Casper continued to be the best of friends. They had many more adventures together, always looking out for each other and for the village they both loved. And though the villagers never knew about Casper, they often wondered how they had been saved from the curse. Timmy kept Casper's secret, knowing that some friendships were too special to be shared with the world. And so, the village remained safe and peaceful, with Timmy and Casper watching over it from the shadows. Their bond grew stronger with each passing day, proving that even a ghost and a little boy could make a big difference when they worked together. The end.